Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Luz, your host, your friend, the court. Today, I'm with another wonderful guest with an incredible, inspiring, empowering, and even, I would say, truly goosebump inducing story. The one and only Maria Garcia from beautiful, tropical New Jersey. So, we're connected to our dear common friend, Zoraida Morales. Shout out to you, my sister. You're amazing. A little bit about Maria. Oh, wow. Oh, boy. We had a beautiful chat last week. And just a little bit about her. She's a true survivor. At 25, she ended up in hospital and had a stroke. And within 24 hours, she was paralyzed from the nose down. And it took her just under a decade, about 8 years to recover. And it was not easy. She had to relearn again to do all the things we take for granted, such as even as simple as talking, walking. And at one point in time, she even had to wear diapers at 25. And so she did all kinds of therapies, even when as far as in going to Germany. And all of that started working a little bit. But what really worked for her was putting it all together. And after 15 years, by changing her diet, that's when things started to get back to her. She got back 20% of her functions back. And now she's in a mission to help people getting their lives back. So I'm excited to have her here to share her story. Maria, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here, my friend.
You're welcome. It's an honor to be here.
Please don't mind. So tell us, over and beyond what I just mentioned, we're going to talk about your business and all that in a moment. But for people who don't know you, tell us, who's Maria as a woman and as a human being?
And that's a good question. I'm still discovering myself, right? As we are, all of us are really just in a lifelong journey of discovery. I didn't know who I was for a very long time. And now I see that my mission is to help others get their lives back. Because that's what I wanted most from 25 to like 40, right? That's what I was trying to do and spending my whole life just on that. That was my mission.
Awesome. We're going to unpack all of that in a moment. Thank you. So, what I like to start with always is to ask my guest a series of rapid fire questions to further get to know them as a person. Ready?
Oh, okay.
All right. So, tell us, what makes you happy?
Love
Beautiful. What makes you smile?
and not being serious.
I like that. Now, what makes you come alive?
Purpose,
I like that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
injustice,
I'm with you. What scares you?
being trapped in my body.
Mm, yes. What would you say is your number one personal superpower?
Listening.
Beautiful. When was the last time you had one of those truly incredible laughter that makes your cheeks hurt, rolling on the floor, even tears coming down your eyes?
I love that question.
Yeah.
So the thing that comes to mind is I was actually this weekend
Oh,
and I,
wow.
I was on a boat and there was a lot of people and noise. And I was speaking to a gentleman, he's an accountant. And I said to him, what do you think of S corps?
Mm,
But because my voice is not that clear always, and especially when there's noise, he heard something different. So I see him all of a sudden go, and I look at him and I go, aren't you an accountant? And he goes, yes. And I look at him confused. And then he goes, oh my God, I thought you said, what do I think of escorts?
well, what kind of experts are you referring to? It was different way, different words, Oh, wow. Okay. See, making both of us are having a good laugh. Thank you. Great way to start a Monday
That was,
morning.
you're welcome. That was actually very amusing. I was laughing on the way home about that.
Hey, at least you made that captain's day, you know. You became memorable among the sea of other people around. He will remember you. Oh, you do
Yeah,
escort
I think
lady.
so.
Okay, good, good, good. Now, what is one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore?
Oh, wow. I'm not gonna lie. I still feel like I'm not over this totally, but approval has become so much less important. Approval of others.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now, on the other side, what is one thing that you did not value before, but now you're valuing more and more?
Connection.
In action. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Now, you enjoy traveling, don't you?
Yes, I do.
All right, we can do an entire episode on traveling, but I'd like to take you down a different type of traveling. I'm going to take you down a trip to toward an memory line. So, you know, when we're kids growing up, people around us, family, neighbors, relatives, friends, teachers always ask us, "Hey, Maria, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your answer to that as a little girl?
That's a great question. I actually thought about this a couple of years ago and I thought to myself, I don't remember ever saying I want to be anything. And then it dawned on me. I used to say I want to be a teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in essence, that's what I actually am. Just not in school.
Yeah. Why a teacher? Did you have someone in your family that was a teacher and inspired you, or what was the reason for that?
I think it wasn't one particular teacher, but I was teacher's pet growing up all the time. And I did have some really great teachers.
Mhm.
Um, one specific one stands out. It was in eighth grade, but I had already been teacher's pet like all the grade school.
I love that. Love that. Speaking of that, what was your relationship with school growing up? Did you love school or did you hate school?
I liked it, and I believe that grades were. It was my way of getting approval, right? Getting,
Mm,
hey, good girl, good grades. So that's what I was always trying to do, is be the best, excel at school. I felt like that was my
good,
way of getting the approval that I wanted.
good, good, good. Now, what was your favorite subject in school?
Good question. I liked English because I can write pretty well, but it takes me a very long time. Like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, or I was, and so to write a good essay takes me longer than it should because I just go back and cross things off, add things on. But yeah, the English reading is my passion. I like reading a lot.
Love that. Now, was there any subject that you could not stand?
Political science.
Why?
I don't know. I was never much into politics at all, and science either. So the
Yeah,
combination was not a good one.
yeah. Now, imagine that we were in the same class, say in grade 10 or grade 11. What kind of student were you back then? Were you the shy one, the nerd one, the chatterbox, the superstar, the life of the party?
I would say I was pretty quiet, and I was a bit of a nerd.
Hmm.
But I would go to parties and stuff. So I was like a party animal in disguise. I don't know.
The fun nerd, eh?
Yeah, the fun nerd. That's a good qualifier.
Okay. Now, were you popular with the boys?
I want to say, oh, that's a charged question. Yes and no.
Okay. Do you remember what was your very first job, and do you remember how much you get paid the first time you worked?
Yes. My very first job, I was 13 years old, and I was making probably $4 and change an hour.
How much are you for?
For that was a while ago. That was in the 90s.
Okay, and what was your job again?
I worked at a bakery.
Oh, bakery. Okay. So do you have a sweet tooth?
Oh no, I'm lying. I didn't work at a bakery. That was my second job. That was my second job. My first job was at a clothing store. And do I have
Ah,
a sweet tooth? No, I don't.
you're a fashionista, huh? You have a fashion eye?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good, good, good. Now, let's move forward. From the time you left school to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say it was pretty much straightforward? Once you get into one lane, you were set for life, smooth sailing? Was it more like a turn, a twist, like a roller coaster?
The way I am, I'm pretty rigid. And I recognize that and I want to change that.
Hmm.
And I'm striving to change that. So I was on one path and I thought that was going to be my path for life, pretty much. But then life had other plans, right?
Yeah, yeah. So tell us about what happened to you when you had, what happened to you? What path you got on? How did it all started?
So I was working in finance. I had studied business and I was going down that road. I was working for a Bank of New York company. I was studying to be a broker, and that was going to be my path in life. And I didn't enjoy it at all. But I didn't really know. I didn't know myself. I thought it was finding enjoyable and liking what I did. Not at all. I look back on it now and I think, what was I thinking? But anyway, that's the road I was on. And then one day, I thought I had food poisoning. I ended
Mhm.
up at the hospital. And after a few tests, somebody says to me, Miss, we think you're having a stroke. And I was like, okay, so much for food poisoning.
Mhm.
But then my second thought was, what's a stroke? I had no idea what the word even meant,
Yeah.
right? And just on a side note, I think that helped in my recovery because I had no reference for what
Mhm.
a person with a stroke should be like. So I think that helped me. But anyway, within 24 hours, like you mentioned, I was paralyzed from the nose down.
Wow.
Doctors didn't even realize I was conscious, but I was, and I could hear everything, see everything. They thought I was in a coma, and it
Wow.
took them 2 weeks to figure out I was there.
Wow.
And that was, I can't even say that was scary because that is not strong enough. The word, I can't describe what it felt like. It was really, I was so desperate. Whew. Then eventually, when I began to move an index finger about a centimeter. And then it all progressed from there, slowly, but it did. And then my life became about trying to get some semblance of normality back. So I was doing therapy basically all day. I did all kinds of things, stem cell injections, hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I even played with my diet, and I went from macrobiotic to pescatarian to vegetarian. And I thought, well, I don't know, any little thing that'll help me, I'm willing to do whatever.
Wow. So did that change your life overnight?
Completely. Completely. I was severely depressed, first of all. I was ready to throw in the towel. It was because of my family that I kept alive, basically. If it wasn't for them, I would have just said, I'm getting into bed, I'm never coming out. Right. But they're the ones that made me do things. My brother would come over, exercise with me, and just a bunch of stuff. My mother, she tied my feet to pedals on a bicycle because my feet slipped right off. And it was one of those bikes that you could sit on like a chair. So I was able to sit, but I could not pedal. And she tied my feet to the pedals. So
Wow.
little things.
And then that's when your almost 8, 10 year journey started to heal yourself. So you had to learn, you had to self learn a lot of things about first your condition. Talk to us about that. What did you do? Did you immerse yourself in the library? Did you go to, I guess, talk to as many doctors as possible? Talk us through your journey.
I did a lot of movement, a lot of exercise. At first, I could barely even walk.
Mm,
I actually started in the hospital because when I was in the hospital for about 44 days or 45, my brother would move my limbs when nobody was exercising me. He would every day come in and move my arms up and down, my legs. So that's how it started. And then when I was finally home, after I'd gone to the hospital and the rehab hospital, so I was away from home for 4 months. Then when I finally came home, I would do what I could. My brother would come over, and I hated every second of it. I thought, oh my gosh, these people are like drill sergeants. I can't take it. But now I'm thankful. Now I'm thankful that was the case because I credit a good part of my healing to doing all that movement, right? And eventually I joined the gym when I could finally walk. And things just progressed from there very slowly, but everything progressed from there.
mhm. So you mentioned your brother a couple of times already. How was he instrumental in helping you get back? First of all, get out of the place you were, and get you back to a normal life.
Wow. Well, it was my brother and my parents. First of all, when I was in the hospital, they created shifts,
Mhm.
24 hours. So somebody would be with me every day, 24 hours a day for 2 months almost.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. And so he would do the exercises with like for me because I couldn't move. He would read me books. He spent 8 hours a day with me in the beginning. Then he came over when I was finally home. He would help me exercise. He would research things. So my family was integral in my recovery.
Was your brother at the time working? Did you have a family, kids, wife?
He had a wife. He had no kids. He was working as a police officer at the
Mm,
time.
wow, that's an incredible commitment. Salute to him. Wow, wow, amazing. So you mentioned that you did all kinds of therapies. Tell us about those therapies that you took.
I think the first one I did, or was hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
What is that?
I'm not sure. So you go into a tank, looks like a submarine, right? And they pump up the oxygen, so you get more oxygen than you would from walking outside a lot more.
Hmm.
And that's supposed to be helpful for your bodily functions, for your cells.
Hmm.
So I did that for about 5 weeks. I also went to Germany, did therapy there for like 6 weeks. I had stem cell injections
Wow.
from Ecuador.
So you went around the world, literally. Wow. Okay. And when did you realize that? Was there a point before I ask this question? Was there a point that you felt that there's nothing to do and you were almost on the verge of giving up?
Oh, at the very beginning.
Yeah,
I think at the beginning was the toughest for me.
sure.
That's when there was a black cloud over my head and I could not see any light at all. I was in that why me stage for a very long time.
Did you have any warning signs, any pre-existing medical condition, a thing that?
No, and that was the craziest part because I was a runner
Oh, wow, yeah.
and I've always been what I thought was pretty healthy
Mm-hmm.
at the time, my reference at the time. And so it was a bit of a shock, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't run in my family either.
What were you doing when that happened? Were you at work? Were you at home when you had that stroke?
I was at home. I was at home. It was a Sunday. I had just eaten with my parents. Hence, I thought it food poisoning, right? So at the moment it happened, I was on the phone with a friend from overseas. And then I started saying nonsensical things like the red ocean is underneath the kitchen floor. And then as soon as I said that, I'm like, I felt like I was hearing myself as a third person. I didn't think it came out of my mouth. I'm like, what? What does that mean? And then I said something else that made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to finally get off the phone. I said, I need to go. And I immediately fell on my bed with the worst headache I've ever had. I felt like somebody just whacked me with a pan over the head.
Do you remember around what time it was?
Yeah, it was probably 4 or 5 p.m.
Was there anyone at home around you?
Yes, a friend of mine was in the other room, in the living room, and my parents lived upstairs. So my friend saw me. He called my mother. She came down just in time to catch me throwing up. Right?
Wow. Okay. So when did you, okay, after all of that, when did you realize that, hey, there's actually a light at the end of the tunnel, I can actually pull it off?
Funny enough, the thing that was the most powerful for me was when I finally joined the gym and I joined yoga because I thought,
Mm,
I can do the yoga. It's adaptable, it's slow. But it wasn't even that. What really made me see light at the end of the tunnel, made my depression start to dissipate was the actual yoga because it's such a powerful mental exercise, which
yeah.
I did not know.
Wow. And you mentioned that one time you had to relearn everything, talking, walking, even had to wear diapers for a while.
Yeah,
What was the biggest challenge in that? Was it the more the psychological effect of that, or was it more like you being completely dependent on other people? What was the toughest part for you going through that?
pretty much everything. But I think that one of the most challenging things is watching myself and realizing, oh my God, I used to be able to do this once at one time, and knowing that now I can't do it. And it's like having a second childhood, except this
Mm,
time you're aware of what you can't do. And that was so difficult. And also the dependence, because I was hyper independent. And now all of a sudden it's rely on everybody for even a diaper change. It was crazy.
must have been incredibly humbling and even depressing.
You took the words out of my mouth. It was deeply humbling.
That's an
Deeply
understatement
humbling.
for sure. What kept you going in those very dark moments when you could have felt that, hey, there's no hope? Why even continue this suffering? What was the force or the whatever it was keeping you going?
My family. It was definitely my family.
Beautiful, beautiful.
They
So,
were still hope.
mhm.
That hope, I had zero hope. They were the ones researching treatments. They were the ones making me handwrite. They would give me notebooks from overseas that teach handwriting, all kinds of things. They did everything. I did the work, but they were the ones that were, you need to do this.
So during that time, from the hundreds of people I talked on my podcast for the last 5 years, when they go through a life-changing event, they they see that during that time they've had an awakening, an understanding of what truly matters. Did you go to that phase as well? That, hey, that timeout basically from life was for you to reflect on what truly mattered and really think through what you wanted out of life? Did you go through that phase?
I want to say it happened for me, but differently. It happened
Mm,
very gradually. It wasn't like one moment when I was suddenly light bulb. It was more like a gradual understanding.
sure. Prior to that life-altering accident, so event, were you religious? Did you believe in God or were you spiritual?
Neither. I was Catholic in
Okay.
name, right? And I did go to church growing up for a while, but once I was 13 or 12, I would tell my mom, why aren't you going to church? And she's like, well, whatever she said. And I was like, well, I'm not going anymore either.
Yeah. So you're going to that very humbling, very depressing phase of your life. Did that get you back closer to your faith?
I would say that now I'm spiritual and not
Mm,
religious.
hmm. Yeah, I can relate with that as well. Yeah. What was the greatest lesson that you learned through that very dark chapter of your life?
I learned many, many lessons, but the greatest one, I don't know, this is going to sound trite, but for me, it was a huge deal. My parents weren't ever, or my family wasn't ever the type that would say, I love you, or,
Mm,
hug you.
yeah.
And to see them show up the way they did,
Do you think that was one of the purposes for you to go that for them to express love again to each other?
yeah,
Wow. I can see that a lot of people, myself included, grew up in an environment where it's not common for people to say "I love you," and you need something drastic, life-changing to arrive to happen to actually put your ego, because it's ego that's literally stopping us and holding us back from expressing our love to someone. And then we need something very drastic to put our little quote unquote stupid ego aside and speak from the heart, not speak from here, but speak from the
absolutely.
heart. Wow. Now, you said it took you almost a decade, 8 to 10 years to get back on your feet. Now, when was the moment that you realized, hey, this is, I'm winning and failure is not an option? I will kick this MF in the butt and I'm gonna come back stronger than ever. And I'm gonna use this as a gift. Was there a moment for you to say, hey, this is it. I'm gonna turn this into a beautiful gift.
It didn't happen quite like that. It was more like after the age of 10 years, I said, I'm tired. I'm just tired. I wanted to do something other than try to get my life back.
Yeah.
I felt like I was alive in
Yeah.
order to get better. And I said, I'm done. I'm not doing therapy anymore. I haven't recovered anymore in the past 2 years or so. So now
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go back to school and try to live life as best as I can. I want to live. I want to just live.
Yeah. You mentioned that before this incident, you're working in finance and banking. And then you mentioned you just went to school. Did you ever, when you were about to recover or close to being recovered, did you ever want to go back to finance? You wanted nothing to do with that again and look for a different path.
Yeah. I wasn't looking too much for a different path, but I knew I did not want to go back to the old one.
Yeah, the stress is not worth it.
It wasn't even the stress. I wasn't that stressed because I was only at my prior job about 6 months and I was working on getting my broker license. So I wasn't at that point where it was, ooh, uber stressful. But I just didn't like that
Mm,
dog eat dog world. And
yeah.
I felt like people were just not authentic. Everybody was, I don't know.
Yes, you said it perfectly. Dog eat dog. That's exactly how that world is. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So now tell us, what is making you, Maria, now excited about the future? What are you working on?
So right now I'm working on nutrition. That is my
Wow.
passion because that is what helped me finally get my life back 15 years after the stroke to my shock. I was shocked.
Precisely, speaking of that, what changes did you make to your diet that showed you some real results?
Well, number one, when I joined the program as a client. So 15 years after the stroke, I saw an ad for a program and I was curious because it was on nutrition and I had already been playing with my diet for a number of years. And so I figured, you know what? Let me just enroll because I'm going to learn something new about a topic I'm already passionate about. And never in a million years did I think anything would change in me because I had already plateaued at least 5 years prior. And I just didn't realize what was possible. Within 6 months, I'd recovered another 20% and I got my life back. And I think to answer your question, one of the big things that was when I joined the program, I was a vegetarian because I was thinking that I was healthier. And I learned in the program that that's not healthier. It's actually less healthy.
Mhm. So you mentioned that's a very powerful point. So you were a vegetarian. So what kind of changes did you make? What did you stop eating? What did you start eating that showed great progress in your life?
I stopped eating the grains and the carbs, and I began to eat more protein and fat and more of an ancestral like diet.
I love that. I love that. Yes.
Yeah,
Which is funny because it goes completely against what all these so-called experts are telling us that you need to cut all the proteins in meat and instead go all green. Yes,
right.
there is amazing benefit in greens and all that, absolutely. But we need to find a balanced diet. We absolutely need our meat. This is how we as human species, we've evolved for millions of years. It's for a reason.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And as much as I don't like that something has to die in order for me to live,
Mhm.
that's the cycle of life.
So tell
You
us,
can't have life.
absolutely, what's your typical diet in a day? Tell us what is your typical meal for lunch and dinner?
Oh, well, that depends because I'm not always doing the same thing. I
Mm,
live with seasonality, and it's not seasonality that I live in. It's
mm.
more seasonality of what certain foods indicate to my body, right? So some days I don't generally have breakfast because I'm not hungry in the morning. And think about it. I mean, when our ancestors lived, there was no refrigeration, right? So when they got up, they had to go look for food first. They couldn't just get up and eat.
2 eggs, bacon, coffee, whatever. No, just take
All
whatever you
right.
can, you know. It's funny because I can relate with that. I've been very healthy all my life, very active. But 2 years ago, when I was living in Malaysia, I adopted for a month the all protein diet. So no breakfast, for lunch, a big steak, 4 eggs, and a little bit salad on the side. That was my way of a little bit cheating, if you want to call that. And I've never felt better in my life. I was because normally when I have a normal diet of carbs and all that, and I love my pastas and all that, about an hour after lunch, right after lunch, I would feel a very strong desire to nap. And then very often, an hour, 2 hours later, I needed to eat again. I was hungry, hungry all the time. But once I switched from all meat, so I was also skipping breakfast. I swear to you, I was not sleepy at all. I was full of energy, no need, no desire to eat anything up until 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. And then for evening, I would add either chicken or fish or some meat, and I've never felt better.
I believe it, and I know it because we have this belief that after 40, we start going downhill. We
Yeah.
start getting aches and pains, and we think that's normal. That is not normal.
Yes.
We've normalized it as a society, but that is not the way that the body functions. And humans can actually live to 120. They have that capability. But how many people do you know that are
Yeah.
120 years old? I don't know any.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I love my carbs, my pastas, my pizzas, my bread, and all the pastries. But yeah, for health benefit, nothing beats an all protein diet because that's actually
Yeah,
literally that's what fuels us, not just for the next 20 minutes, but for the whole day.
yeah,
I know people who use the one meal a day, and their meal is a massive meat fest.
yeah.
That's it.
I agree with that. I support the diet as well. I think that's
Yeah.
a good way to live.
Did you get any resistance from people around you that were telling you, no, 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 that's not healthy. Stick to a vegetarian meat or green rich diet. Did you face any resistance from people around you?
No, not at all. Not at all, because my brother was also doing keto at some point,
Oh, beautiful.
and he joined my program, and he was even getting improving his health even more.
Mm,
And now we do the all protein, but not
yeah,
all the time. And I got my mother to do it. That's really good.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Amazing. So now tell us, what is your business?
So I coached the program that changed my life so much. I became a coach because at the time, I thought this is unheard of.
Yeah,
This is sorcery. How can the body do these things, right? So I joined the coaching program and I coach that. And I find the program very helpful to
yeah,
people because not only it's not me coming to you and saying, here, do this, just do this. Because most people look at that and they go, what? I can't do all that.
yes,
So we go through a phase where we're just addressing your food psychology, why you like the things you like, why you don't like the things you don't like, and everything about psychology. And that lays the foundation in order to be able to start making changes. And then we change things very incrementally.
Mhm. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, for who is your program? Who's gonna benefit the most from your program?
I think people that are looking to regain their health are going to see the biggest impact, right?
Yeah.
But I want to put it this way: the body wants to heal, and the body wants to function optimally, but it needs certain building blocks.
Yes, 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 yes. And what better way to do that than by simply eating the right stuff?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, think about it this way: when you go to the zoo, everywhere says, "Do not feed the animals," because every animal has a species-specific diet whereby it thrives.
Yes.
Well, humans are also a species.
Same thing in a car. If you put the wrong type of gasoline in your car, it's gonna have issues. It's not gonna work. It's gonna buck, 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 buck.
Right.
You're
Right.
gonna kill the motor.
Imagine putting water in your gas tank or something,
A
not gas.
diesel and normal car is gonna stop, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me that we have pets. When you go
Yeah.
to the vet with your pets, the first thing they ask you is, what are you feeding your pet?
Certainly.
But then when humans go to the doctor, I've never been asked, what are you eating? Never.
Isn't that a tragedy?
Right. Yeah.
I heard something wild is that in med school, they barely even touch nutrition. They don't even have just one class in 4 years, like maybe 2 hours a week. I mean, that's insane. I'm not a doctor,
It's
but it doesn't take a
insane.
genius to figure that out.
It's insane. And then on top of it, when they do have nutrition for that time, everything they learn is backwards. So,
It's all about the mighty dollars, isn't it?
yeah,
Because when it's
that's the
natural,
thing.
they can monetize it.
Healthy people are not profitable. And that's the way it is. Health is a business like every other.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is.
They're not in the business of curing you. They're in the business of keeping you sick for as long as possible so you can keep buying, consuming their medicines, so called, and whatever lotion and potion they can sell you.
Correct. That's so true. It's so sad, but it's so true. And
Mhm.
think about it. If we can live, and this was told to me even by my Western medicine doctor, humans can live to 120.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting our lives cut like 40, 50, 60 years early.
I don't know if you noticed that, but when growing up, people that were, let's say, 35, 40, they look so much older. Now, people that
Mhm.
are, I'm always amazed, people that are like 65 or 60, they look they're in the 40s. People that are 40s look like they're in the 30s. Why is that?
I'm not sure, but I noticed this. I think part of it is a lot of people are having work done, but also I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the preservatives in the food that are preserving you. I don't know.
Or more and more people are becoming aware and taking care of their own health, be more active.
Some people, yes. I agree that some people, yes. But I think that's not the whole picture. I think
Mhm.
there's more to that.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, I'm not complaining. Absolutely not. It's actually
No,
an
no, no.
amazing trend. So, wow, amazing, beautiful. Now, share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients going through your program.
Oh, I love this question.
Okay, me too.
So I had one client that came to me on crutches. He was scheduled for a sciatica operation, sciatica. Within 7 weeks, his sciatica released. He came to a call and he was running a place and he's like, look, Maria, I can walk. And I thought, oh my gosh, never in a million years would I think sciatica is related to diet. Now, I would have never thought that. Today, I know different. And
Hmm.
back then I thought, what does one thing have to do with the other?
This is
So
literally
yeah,
not only life saving, but family saving, changing and saving families.
oh yeah.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful.
I'd have many more stories, many more.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm sure
That's
you do. Yeah.
even that same client, he stopped using reading glasses.
Oh,
What?
by simply eating more proteins.
By eating differently, by fueling your body and giving it the proper hydration and nutrition.
Yeah. Wow. I need to get back onto the protein diet myself, especially being here in Canada, visiting family, eating a lot of amazing home cooked food, mostly carbs. Yes, it's delicious, but not always the healthiest.
Right. And it's an addiction, to be honest, because when you're eating carbs, you
Yeah.
have gut bacteria and they will for more carbs, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Amazing, amazing. Listen, I love your story. We can talk for hours, but let's start to wrap this up. To finish, I'd like to ask you another series of rapid fire questions, but this time on advices. Ready?
Okay.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received so far in your life?
Oof. That's can we come back to that one?
Sure. What's the worst piece of advice you received so far?
Uh to chase and material things.
Mhm. If you're blessed with a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old version of you, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to her, knowing what you know now?
Feel your feelings.
Yeah. Let me add another question to that. What would you say to the Maria who had just got the stroke? Imagine you're talking to her in the first few days of the stroke in the hospital. What would you tell her? One advice.
You're gonna be okay.
I love
You're
that.
gonna be okay. You're gonna emerge stronger.
Yes, this is your gift. Absolutely. Now, imagine that you have a very successful podcast, and today you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. What's the first question you want to ask yourself? Don't think too much. First thing that comes to your mind.
What was going through your mind when you and those first stages, that first month? Like what did you think? What was going on in there when you couldn't move or do anything?
And what's your answer? In a nutshell. I know we can do an entire episode just on that, but then one or two sentences.
It was a mix of just absolute terror, depression, but then there was very little moments when I thought I was chosen, when I'd get the message,
Mm,
been chosen.
I love that. I love that. Now, the last question I ask all my guests, and that's my favorite question to ask, and that is what is the smallest thing that you've done that has had the biggest, deepest, most powerful, positive impact in both your life and your business? For example, for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you, Maria?
Discovering ads, and I'm still working on that. But
Covering what? Sorry?
ads,
Ads. Okay.
paid ads, I
Oh,
should say.
oh, okay. Which platform?
For now, Facebook.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, okay. Might want to do another episode just on that because that's a very powerful topic.
Mm.
If someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
The best way to find me is on my webpage, genuinelymaria.com.
Genuinely, Maria.
Genuinely.
Okay. We'll put that in the show notes. Listen, Maria, absolutely love your story, your passion, your gift. I salute you. You're truly with a heart. Keep shining a light. Keep blessing the world. Your presence, your impact, your story, your gifts. Always remember that you, Maria, you're a beautiful, powerful, and inspiring gift. Take care. Stay safe. God bless. And talk to you soon, my friend. Take care.
I appreciate that. This is fun.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Cheers. Bye bye.